Hey guys, welcome back to the Second Time Lucky Mining channel. In today's video, we're going to have a look at my earnings for the month of February. If you like this type of content, maybe consider liking the video or potentially subscribing to the channel. It'll help me out a great deal. But enough of plugging my own channel. Let's have a look at the spreadsheet so we can see what have I done for the month of Feb. Okay, so let's jump into the mining rig. So as you guys can see here, I'm logged into Hive OS. And I only have the one rig here in Hive OS, so let me just jump into it. So if I just open it up, as you guys can see, it's currently mining Ethereum on 2 miners and I get paid out in Bitcoin. So that's my main thing. And the other interesting thing, and it's probably a new record for me, as you guys can see here, it's been up 25 days non-stop. So that's one of the big lessons that I've learned this month. After I bought the last GPU, I just set the miner and then I didn't tinker with it. It was very hard because within this month of February, that's when dual mining really kicked off. There was a lot of videos on the internet about mining Toncoin and mining Lithium, but I resisted that urge and just let my miner do its thing and just keep on mining. And I think that's probably why I mined a hell of a lot more than what I would have done. But just looking at the graphics card that I have, as you guys can see, it's an 8 GPU mining rig. And again, if you haven't watched that video, I'll tag a link to my previous video where I had a video on it, but I'll show you guys. It's an Octominer case, so it's great. I've got 6 AMD GPUs, which consists of I think 3 6800 XTs. I've got 2 6700 XTs, and then I've got one lonesome 6800 non-XT version. And then I've got 2 NVIDIA cards here. So the RTX A4000, which is a bit of my problem child, and then a LHR 3060 Ti. So I'm quite impressed with how stable it is in the Octominer. And again, I would definitely highly recommend a Octominer case for mining. I think I'm a little bit spoiled now, but that's the only thing I want to use at this stage. And again, if you haven't watched my video on the Octominer, I'll leave a link in the video description as well, and then tag it at the top. But yeah, so this is the mining rig. Again, it's been very stable. I haven't fiddled with any of the overclocks. And then what you are seeing here is my overclock. So it's fairly stable. I'm looking to add another Octominer case, but I'm just waiting for them to drop their minimum order quantity to 1. And I was tweeted from Octominer, so they're expecting it to happen at the end of March. I'm looking out specifically for that so I can buy one more. And when I do that, that's when I'm going to move these NVIDIA cards out of this rig and maybe fill it up with AMD rigs and then build a separate one specifically just for NVIDIA cards. So that's the plan. Okay, so now that you guys have seen my mining rig, let's jump into my crypto accounting spreadsheet, and then starting off with expenses. So for the month of February, I spent a total of about or just short of $1,300 US. And I only bought one GPU for $1,000 or 1,400 Australian dollars. So that was an AMD RX 6800 XT. So that was a reference card. Super happy about that. That person actually bought a 3080 at launch, and then he's been waiting all this time to get that. So I thought that was a good deal that I got. And then the other expenses that I have from a capital point of view for the month was my Raspberry Pi and all of the components that comes together with that. So that was about almost $300 again US. And again, I shouldn't have spent that much on it, but I really wanted the argon case and some of the other accessories. So yeah, so as you guys can see, it's obviously less graphics cards than I've done in the previous months, and that was a calculated decision. I do expect graphics cards to come down in price, so I don't really want to overextend in that regard. So I'd like to pick them up a little bit cheaper, so I'm holding out a little bit. And then as you guys saw, I don't have space in my Octominer case. Yes, I still have an open rig frame, so I can get more graphics cards mining, but I'm a little bit spoiled for choice now, so I'm sort of waiting for Octominer to drop their minimum order quantity, and then I'll buy that case and then slowly start filling that up. Overall, I've spent about $14,000 on mining equipment in total since I started. Looking at my operational expenses, so there's sort of 3 line items here for the month of Feb. I've stood up 2 VPSs, and again, that is specifically for Flux. I'm wanting to host a Flux node, so these 2 VPSs together with my Raspberry Pi, I'm looking to stand that up. So if you've watched some of my previous videos on that, and I'll leave a link in the video description and tag it at the top here, but They are halving their collateral for Flux nodes. Again, that's supposed to be on the 1st of March, but I did see a tweet today stating that it's going to be the 12th of March. So I'm a little bit gutted about that because, as you guys can see, I've already ordered these Contabo VBSs. So I really want to make use of that. But anyway, it is what it is. I can't really change that. But I'm at least ready. So I did test them on the test net. So they're ready to go as soon as I can stake those coins. From an electricity point of view, again, my electricity rate is about 17 Aussie cents per kilowatt hour. From a US dollar point of view, it's about 14 cents US dollar terms. And then obviously you saw my wattage on Hive OS. So it's about 1,200 watts that miner pulls, or a little bit more, so I think 1,220. But I do mine with my gaming PC every now and again as well, so I sort of accounted for that as well. And I accounted it for the full month of February, which is not really the full month. So today, as you guys are probably looking at the date, it's the 26th of February. So unfortunately the end of the month is in the week, and I'm not at home this week for work purposes. So as close as it can get, unfortunately. So this is really what my expenses are. So from a capital expenditure, I spent about 1,300 US dollars, and then 130 US dollars on electricity. All right, so now let's have a look at what did I mine for the month of February. So let's have a look at my mining tracking sheet. So as you guys can see, nothing really has changed for February. As you saw on Hive OS, I still mine Ethereum using 2 miners, but then getting paid out in Bitcoin. So as a total, I've mined 0.027 Bitcoin. So I'm super stoked about that. Again, that's a big jump compared to the previous months. And that's just because I haven't fiddled with the miner. It's just been non-stop 25 days. So it's really good. If you haven't watched some of my Helium videos, I'll leave a link in the video description and tag some of them at the top. But I've been testing out a lot of different antennas, and in total I've mined about 2.5 or 2.6 here Helium. So that's a little bit short. So I mined, what's this, 1.9 Helium for the month. So that's not too shabby actually. On the Flux side, again, I don't have a lot of graphics cards pointing to Flux at the moment. So I just use my gaming PC whenever I'm not using it to mine Flux. So that's a 6800 XT that just mines Flux. So there's not a lot. I don't mine a lot of Flux at this stage. And then obviously my gaming CPU as well, I just point that to Monero Ocean. So I mine some Monero as well. So as a total, so for the month of February, I've mined all of these things in total. Just the net for February, that's about, it's just short of $800, so $793 at today's rates. So that would be almost $700 on Bitcoin, almost $50 on Helium, and then $40 on Flux, and then $14 using my CPU. In total, I have mined, since I started, 1,900 US dollars. So that's sort of where I am. So as you guys can see, looking at the total that I've earned, again, this is calculated on today's prices. It's about $800. And if you minus my electricity, that's 160. It's still very profitable to mine cryptocurrency, as you guys can see. But let's have a look at my ROI. And for that, I'm going to go to my value tracking sheet. So as you can see here, I've got my total expenses. So that is the capital expenses. So think of it all, the graphics cards and network devices and octaminers and all of those type of things, together with my operating expenses. So that would be electricity, VPSs, Hive OS, or whatever would be that. So the total of capital expenses plus my operating expenses up until the 26th of February. And then I've got my mining sales. And again, that's everything that I've mined. Obviously, I have also sold a graphics card. So if you haven't watched last month's video, I sold the 2070. So I have some funds that I got back from that. And then looking at today's prices, and as you guys can see here, when I started mining, Bitcoin was almost 50,000, and today it's 39,000. So looking at just where the markets are today, and today again is the 26th of February 2022. So if I have a look at that and go to point market cap, so here you can see Bitcoin is about 39,000, Ethereum about 2,800. If I jump to the Flux price, and again, I'm a big fan of Flux these days, it's about a $1.42 for Flux. Now, from an ROI perspective, again, so what I'm doing is I'm taking my total expenses divided by or taking what I've mined divided by my total expenses. So as you guys can see here, I had a big jump, but it's still far away from ROI. So it's about 16% on an ROI perspective. So I'm still very far from a ROI, unfortunately, but I'm in it for the long term, so I will eventually ROI. Now that you guys know where I stand from an ROI perspective, let's have a look if I've bought any coins. So if I go to my sales tab here, you can see I didn't buy any other graphics card or sell any other graphics card. Still the one that I sold, the 2070. Looking at my trades, I only made a couple of trades in February, and that was really to help me to get enough Flux coins to stand up the node. So that's really what I did. And if you have a look at the prices that I paid, as you can see here, it's still lower or higher than my trading prices versus the price of Flux at the moment. So as you guys can see, I'm not a good trader, and this channel is not about financial advice. You shouldn't be listening or looking at the prices that I'm paying for stuff. You know, I don't look at any signals. I just want the coin because I want to participate, you know, in Flux. So, you know, as you can see here, some of the coins that I bought was specifically for my YouTube video. So, you know, please go and have a look at that. It's much appreciated. But, you know, for transparency point of view, let me just go back to my assets. So as you can see, nothing really has changed that much. Fundamentally, I'm still a big believer in Bitcoin. So most of my funds, and about 80% or 81% is still in Bitcoin. The big shift here has been the Flux shift. So I think last month it was about 7% or 6% or something like that. So I'm moving some of my Bitcoin into Flux, and that was mainly to participate in the new node structure. So I'm really keen for that and to give that a shot. So that's sort of where I am from an asset perspective. I'm still slowly chipping away at my goal to get 1 Bitcoin, but hopefully I can achieve that this year. Probably not, but hopefully next year. But we'll see how we go.
If you've liked the video, please like it and maybe consider subscribing to the channel. If you didn't, please specify in the comments what you would like me to change. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.